Winter hit South Baltimore harder than anyone expected. The river swelled past the flood markers, pushed into the low blocks, and left everything below Monroe Street smelling like rust and mud for weeks. Most people stayed inside. Most people waited for the city to clean it up. Caleb Green wasn't most people. He was 7 years old, small for his age, and he had a rule his mother drilled into him since he could talk. Lost things belong back with the people who lost them. That's why, on a gray afternoon when the water had finally pulled back, Caleb found himself crouched under a bus bench near the corner of Lexington and Cary. The wood was swollen, the screws were orange with rust, and wedged between the slats, half hidden in dried mud, was a wallet. Heavy, leather, expensive in a way Caleb recognized even if he couldn't explain it. He didn't open it, didn't need to. The corner of a $100 bill peeked out from the fold, and embossed on the front in gold letters was a phone number. Caleb pulled out his mother's cracked prepaid phone, the one she let him carry for emergencies, and dialed. The phone rang twice. Then a voice answered. Calm, deep, the kind of voice that didn't rush. Who is this? Caleb swallowed. Hi, I found your wallet. Silence. Not the confused kind, the listening kind. I'm calling because my mom says lost things should go back to who lost them, Caleb continued, his words tumbling out faster now. I didn't take anything. I just wanted to tell you I have it. More silence. Then, why didn't you take the money? Caleb frowned. Because it's not mine. Most people would take it. My mom says money feels like heat. You don't grab it unless you're ready to get burned. The man on the other end said nothing for a long time. Long enough that Caleb thought maybe the call had dropped. Where are you? The voice finally asked. Caleb told him. Stay there. The line went dead. Caleb sat on the curb, the wallet in his lap, waiting. He didn't know who the man was. Didn't know why his chest felt tight, like he'd done something that mattered more than returning a wallet. 20 minutes later, a black SUV pulled up. Tinted windows, engine so quiet Caleb barely heard it. A man stepped out. Tall, dark suit, Korean features, but his English had no accent. He looked at Caleb the way a teacher looks at a test they didn't expect anyone to pass. You're the one who called? Caleb nodded, holding out the wallet. The man took it, checked inside, then looked at Caleb again, longer this time, like he was solving a problem that had been bothering him for years. What's your name? Caleb Green. The man nodded slowly. Thank you, Caleb Green. He got back in the SUV and drove away. Caleb walked home, hands in his pockets, not knowing that 3 cameras on his block had just been wiped. Not knowing that 2 police patrol routes had been quietly rerouted. Not knowing that the man in the black SUV had just canceled a wedding that would have secured his family's power for the next decade. All because a 7-year-old believed lost things should go home. Sometimes the smallest choices create the biggest consequences. One call, one moment of honesty, one decision that changes everything. If stories like this one remind you why integrity matters, even when no one's watching, then maybe it's worth passing along. Hit that like button if Caleb's choice moved you, and subscribe to Tales by Wave for more stories that prove one person can shift the entire game. Because what happens next? You won't believe it. Marisol Green got home at 2:47 a.m. Her feet ached. Her back ached. The smell of fryer grease clung to her hair no matter how many times she washed it. She opened the apartment door as quietly as she could, hoping Caleb was asleep. He wasn't. He was curled up by the living room window, blanket wrapped around his shoulders, eyes half closed but still watching the street. Baby, what are you doing up? Caleb blinked at her. Waiting. For what? I don't know yet. Marisol's stomach tightened. She followed his gaze to the window. Across the street, parked under a broken streetlight, sat a black SUV. Engine off. Lights dark. But someone was inside. She could feel it. How long has that been there? Caleb shrugged. Since I got home from school. Marisol's mind started running through possibilities. None of them good. She'd seen cars like that before. Years ago, back when she worked for a law firm that paid her in cash and asked her not to put her name on anything she reviewed. She'd read contracts for men in expensive suits. Men who spoke softly and smiled like they were doing you a favor. Men whose signatures could bury families in debt they'd never escape. Marisol had been good at her job. Too good. One contract crossed her desk, a property acquisition deal dressed up as community investment. She'd flagged it, written a single note in the margin, unenforceable due to predatory timing clause. The lawyer who hired her thanked her quietly, paid her late, then disappeared. 2 weeks later, Marisol quit. Started waiting tables, kept her head down. That was 8 years ago. She thought she'd left that world behind. Now, staring at the black SUV across the street, she wasn't so sure. Go to bed, baby, she whispered, pulling Caleb away from the window. Mom? Yeah? I did something today. Marisol's heart stopped. What did you do? I found a wallet. I called the number inside. A man came and got it. Marisol's blood went cold. What man? I don't know. He was nice. He said thank you. Marisol looked back at the SUV. Still there. Still watching. She closed the curtain. But closing a curtain doesn't stop people from seeing you. It just makes you feel safer while they decide what to do next. The next morning, Marisol walked Caleb to school. She took a different route. Checked over her shoulder 6 times. The black SUV never appeared. But at the bar that night, her manager, Frank, who'd been there for 15 years, was gone. Replaced by a younger man. Polite, efficient, wearing a tie to manage a dive bar. Where's Frank? Marisol asked. Took early retirement, the new manager said, smiling. I'm Aaron. You must be Marisol. He already knew her name. When her shift ended, Marisol opened her locker. Inside was an envelope. Thick, no name on it. She opened it. Cash, neat stacks. Enough to cover 3 months of rent. No note, no explanation. Marisol stared at the money, her hands shaking. Then she walked out the back door, envelope in hand, and set it on fire in the alley dumpster. She watched it burn until there was nothing left but ash. Across the street, on a rooftop she couldn't see, a man lowered his binoculars. Jae-hoon Park pulled out his phone and made a call. Cancel everything, he said. Sir? The wedding, the merger, all of it. You can't be serious. I'm testing something. He hung up. Then he watched Marisol walk back inside, shoulders squared, jaw tight. She'd just refused money she desperately needed. And Jae-hoon realized something that terrified him. His father might have been right all along. The black SUVs started appearing everywhere. Not following, not threatening, just there. When Marisol walked Caleb to school, there was one parked half a block behind them. When she left for her shift at the bar, another one idling across the street. When Caleb played basketball at the community center, a third one sat in the parking lot, engine running. Caleb noticed first. Mom, are we being protected or followed? Marisol didn't have an answer. Then things started changing. A drunk regular got aggressive one night, grabbed Marisol's wrist hard enough to bruise. Before she could even react, 2 men in dark suits appeared from nowhere and escorted him out. New security, Aaron said. For staff safety. Marisol had never seen them before. 3 days later, her landlord called. Good news, he said, voice tight. The building's been sold. New ownership is locking all current leases at existing rates for 10 years. No rent increases. Marisol's throat went dry. Who bought it? Company called Parallax Imports. Some kind of logistics firm. The name meant nothing to her. But the pattern did. Help appearing where she didn't ask for it. Protection she never requested. Safety that felt more like surveillance. Marisol tried to find out who was behind it. Every lead went cold. Every question got deflected. Finally, she cornered the building manager in the lobby. Who runs Parallax Imports? The manager shifted uncomfortably. They're legitimate. Corporate logistics. Government contracts. Charitable foundations. That's not what I asked. He handed her a business card. If you have concerns, contact their office. That night at the bar, near closing, a man walked in. Tall. Korean. Mid-30s. Expensive suit that didn't match the neighborhood. He sat at the far end of the counter. Ordered nothing. Just watched. Marisol approached, wiping down the bar in front of him. We're about to close. I know. His voice, calm, measured, sent a chill down her spine. She'd heard it before. You're the one my son called. Jae-hoon nodded slowly. Your son called me. I wanted to see who raised someone like that. Someone like what? Someone who thinks lost things should go home. Marisol's hands stilled on the counter. What do you want? To understand if mercy is weakness, Jae-hoon said quietly, or if my father was right. Right about what? That people like you still exist. Marisol leaned forward, voice low. People like me? People who can't be bought. The words hung between them like a challenge. I burned your money, Marisol said. I know. Then you know I don't want your help. I'm not offering help, Jae-hoon said. I'm offering answers. To what questions? The ones you've been asking about Parallax Imports. Marisol's pulse quickened. Who are you? Jae-hoon stood, placed a business card on the counter. Someone trying to figure out if doing the right thing gets you killed, or if that's just what cowards tell themselves. He walked out. Marisol grabbed the card. Jae-hoon Park. Parallax Imports, Chief Operating Officer. She pulled out her phone and searched the company. Logistics, shipping, political donations, charitable foundations. Then she found an old news article. Federal inquiry into campaign finance violations, Shell charities under investigation. One name jumped out at her. The same charity that had offered her relocation money 8 years ago. The same one she'd refused. Marisol's hands started shaking. Jae-hoon hadn't found her by accident. He'd been watching her for years. The wallet wasn't lost. It was left. And Caleb's call wasn't random luck. It was a test. One she didn't know she was taking until it was already too late to walk away. 2 weeks passed. Jae-hoon came back to the bar. Then again. Each time, Jae-hoon sat a little closer. Each conversation lasted a little longer. Marisol told herself Marisol was gathering information. Learning who Jae-hoon was. What Jae-hoon wanted. But the truth was harder to admit. Marisol liked talking to Jae-hoon. Jae-hoon listened the way most people didn't, fully, without interrupting, like Marisol's words actually mattered. One night, after the bar cleared out, Marisol finally asked the question that had been eating at Marisol. Why did you cancel your wedding? Jae-hoon's expression didn't change, but something flickered in Jae-hoon's eyes. How did you know about that? I know how to read what people don't say. Jae-hoon smiled, barely. My father believed mercy was strength. My father died for it. And you? What do you believe? I'm still deciding. Meanwhile, across the city, 6 people sat in a private room overlooking the harbor. The Park Family Council. Connected by blood, bound by strategy, united by profit. Jae-hoon's uncle spoke first. The green woman is a problem. Marisol's a waitress, another member said. How is Marisol a problem? Because Marisol represents what we've spent decades eliminating, the aunt replied. Conscience. Jae-hoon cancelled the Kim merger because of Marisol, the uncle continued. That marriage would have secured our position for the next decade. So remove Marisol. No. The aunt leaned forward. Removing Marisol makes Marisol a martyr. We observe. We document. We let Jae-hoon see for himself what choosing Marisol costs. The vote was unanimous. Back at the bar, Marisol didn't notice the new cameras installed across the street. Marisol didn't see the different car parked 3 blocks down, different plates, different make, but the same watching energy. Jae-hoon noticed. When Marisol's shift ended, Jae-hoon walked Marisol halfway home. Stopped at the corner. Someone else is watching you now, Jae-hoon said quietly. Marisol's stomach dropped. Who? People who think I'm making a mistake. Are you? Jae-hoon looked at Marisol, really looked at Marisol, and for the first time, Marisol saw past the calm exterior to something raw underneath. I don't know yet, Jae-hoon admitted. But I'm about to find out. Jae-hoon turned and walked away. Marisol stood there, cold wind cutting through Marisol's jacket, realizing something that terrified Marisol. Marisol wasn't afraid of the people watching anymore. Marisol was afraid of what would happen when they decided watching wasn't enough. Marisol's boss disappeared overnight. Aaron, the new manager with the tie and the too polite smile, was gone by morning. Replaced by someone even smoother. A woman named Claire who knew everyone's name before introduction and doubled the tips within 3 days. The drunk customers stopped coming. The shifts got easier. The safety got tighter. Marisol felt the cage closing with every improvement. Then Caleb's school called. We wanted to thank you, the principal said. The anonymous donation for new computers and library renovations, it's transformative. Marisol's throat closed. What donation? A foundation. Parallax Community Trust. We assumed you knew. Marisol hung up. That night, Marisol confronted Jae-hoon at the bar before closing. You're buying my life. Jae-hoon looked up from the glass of water Jae-hoon never drank. I'm protecting it. There's a difference. No, Marisol said, voice shaking. There isn't. You don't understand the world you're in. Then explain it. Jae-hoon was quiet for a long moment. Then Jae-hoon spoke. That contract you flagged 8 years ago? You saved 3 families from losing everything. Marisol's breath caught. The contract was designed to seize properties through legal loopholes, Jae-hoon continued. Predatory timing clauses that would trigger foreclosures the moment payments were late. You wrote one note in the margin, unenforceable due to predatory timing clause, and killed the entire deal. I don't remember that. The lawyer who hired you buried your report to protect you. But my father saw it anyway. Jae-hoon leaned forward. My father said you had a conscience that cost you money. My father wanted to remember your name. So when you refused relocation money from that shell charity years later, my father knew. My father said people like you prove the system doesn't have to be corrupt. Marisol's hands were trembling. Your father died because of people like me? My father died because my father helped someone who said no when they should have said yes. Someone who thought integrity mattered more than survival. And you think I'm worth that risk? Jae-hoon held Marisol's gaze. I think I need to know if my father was right. Or if I've spent 10 years being a coward. The bar was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. The test was never about the wallet, Jae-hoon said quietly. The test was about whether you'd let Caleb stay honest in a world that punishes honesty. Marisol felt something crack inside Marisol's chest. You're dangerous, Marisol whispered. So are you. That night, Jae-hoon walked Marisol home for the first time. They didn't touch, didn't hold hands, but the space between them felt smaller than before. Caleb was at the window when they arrived. Watching, waving. Jae-hoon waved back. 3 blocks away, a camera clicked. The photo was sent to the council with one word, confirmed. The lawyer showed up on a Tuesday morning. Knocked on Marisol's door at 9 a.m. with a briefcase and a smile that didn't reach the lawyer's eyes. Ms. Green? I'm here regarding a routine guardianship inquiry. May I come in? Marisol's blood turned to ice. What inquiry? Standard procedure. County review of single-parent households in transitional housing situations. Marisol knew what transitional meant. Poor, vulnerable, easy to classify as unfit. I don't consent to this. You don't have to, the lawyer said, smile still frozen in place. We'll be in touch. The lawyer left. Marisol called Jae-hoon. Jae-hoon arrived in 8 minutes. Caleb was at school. The apartment felt too small with Jae-hoon inside it, the first time Jae-hoon had ever crossed the threshold. They're threatening Caleb, Marisol said, hands shaking. They won't hurt Caleb. Then what are they doing? They're reminding me what's at stake. Jae-hoon sat down at the kitchen table. For the first time since Marisol met Jae-hoon, Jae-hoon looked tired. The Kim family is still waiting for my answer about the marriage arrangement. If I choose you, I choose instability. If I choose instability, the council chooses for me. What does that mean? Jae-hoon met Marisol's eyes. It means they won't hurt Caleb. But they'll make sure Caleb is watched. Assessed. Documented. Every mistake you make as a mother becomes evidence. Every risk becomes negligence. Marisol felt the room closing in. So what are you saying? I'm saying that loving me makes you vulnerable to people who see vulnerability as strategy. Before Marisol could respond, Caleb's voice cut through the tension. Are you the reason the bad men stopped coming around? Caleb stood in the doorway. School bag still on Caleb's back. Eyes locked on Jae-hoon. Marisol's heart stopped. Baby, you're supposed to be at school. Early dismissal. Fire drill. Caleb walked closer. Are you? Jae-hoon looked at Caleb, then at Marisol. Yes. Then thank you for protecting my mom. The simplicity of it broke something in Jae-hoon's carefully constructed armor. Jae-hoon's phone buzzed. Jae-hoon read the message. Jae-hoon's jaw tightened. What is it? Marisol asked. Jae-hoon stood. I have to go. Jae-hoon. They're not threatening you, Jae-hoon said quietly. They're making me the threat. Jae-hoon looked at Caleb one more time. Will you come back? Caleb asked. Jae-hoon didn't answer, because Jae-hoon didn't know. That night, Marisol found a file slipped under the door. Background checks, financial audits, surveillance photos documenting Marisol's life for 8 years. A note in elegant handwriting. We know everything, but we're not your enemy. He is. The signature, the Park Family Council. Marisol understood then. The council wasn't trying to destroy Marisol. The council was making Jae-hoon destroy the relationship himself. By turning Jae-hoon's love into the weapon aimed at Caleb. 3 days of silence. No Jae-hoon. No messages. No black SUVs. Then the protection disappeared. All of it. Overnight. The security at the bar vanished. The lease protection evaporated. Marisol's landlord called about renegotiating terms. The drunk customers returned. Everything Jae-hoon built was being dismantled piece by piece. Marisol hated that Marisol noticed. Hated that Marisol missed the safety. Hated that Marisol kept watching the door, waiting for someone who wasn't coming. Across the city, Jae-hoon sat in a Parallax Imports conference room. Surrounded, the council, all 6 members, stared at Jae-hoon like judges at a sentencing. "You've made your choice clear," Jae-hoon's uncle said. "Now we make ours." The uncle slid a folder across the table. Inside, photos of Marisol. Documents. Contracts from 2017. A rival logistics firm has been tracking Marisol Green independently, the aunt said. "Not because of you, because of what Marisol knows." Jae-hoon's chest tightened. "What are you talking about?" "The warehouse fire in Newark. 5 years ago. Evidence destroyed. Campaign finance violations buried." Jae-hoon remembered. Everyone in the industry remembered. "The contracts Marisol flagged exposed the network," the uncle continued. "Shell charities, zoning board leverage, legal theft dressed as community development. Someone thought the problem was buried with that fire. But Marisol is a living paper trail," the aunt finished. Jae-hoon felt the ground shift beneath Jae-hoon. "You knew this from the beginning. We let you test whether your father's mercy was wisdom or weakness," the aunt said. "Now you know. Mercy makes targets out of the people you try to save." Jae-hoon stood. "You used Marisol. We observed a situation that already existed. You made Marisol visible." Meanwhile, at the bar, a man in a cheap suit approached Marisol during the lunch shift. "Ms. Green? I'm Agent Reeves, federal investigator." Marisol's stomach dropped. "We have questions about your employment history. Specifically 2017. I was a paralegal. I left the field. We want to know why." Agent Reeves placed a card on the bar. "We'll be in touch." After Agent Reeves left, Marisol found a second card tucked under the tip jar. "Different company, Apex Security Solutions." Handwritten on the back, "We can help you disappear. Call before they make you." Marisol's hands shook as Marisol read the words again. Someone wanted Marisol to testify. Someone else wanted Marisol silent. And Jae-hoon, the one person who claimed to want Marisol alive, had vanished. Marisol looked at both cards. Federal investigator, private security firm, 2 exits, both traps. Marisol called the only number Marisol had memorized. Jae-hoon answered on the first ring. "Don't trust anyone who offers you an exit," Jae-hoon said. "Including you? Especially me." They met in the church on Lexington Avenue. The one that received the anonymous donation years ago. The one with the new roof nobody questioned. Marisol arrived first. Jae-hoon walked in 5 minutes later. Empty pews, stained glass filtering weak afternoon light. "You flagged contracts that could have exposed a network of influence laundering," Jae-hoon said without greeting. "Campaign donations disguised as charity. Zoning board leverage. Legal theft. Your family profits from that network," Marisol said. "So do our rivals. And the federal inquiry? Someone wants you to testify. Someone else wants you silent. I want you alive." Marisol crossed her arms. "Tell me about your father." Jae-hoon was quiet for a long moment. "My father showed mercy to a city planner who exposed a rigged zoning deal. Offered the planner protection instead of punishment. The council saw it as weakness. The rivals saw it as opportunity." "How did your father die?" "Car accident. Mechanical failure," they said. Jae-hoon's voice was flat. "I've never believed that. You think your family killed your father?" "I think mercy is dangerous when everyone around you treats it like treason." Jae-hoon finally looked at Marisol. "My father believed people like you, people who choose integrity over safety, prove the system doesn't have to be corrupt. And you've been testing that theory." "I thought I was, but I was wrong." "About what?" "You're not proof of anything except that I've been afraid to believe in what I already know is true." The distance between them felt smaller suddenly. "What happens now?" Marisol asked. "I break every vow I was raised on. Or I lose the only thing that's made me feel human in 10 years. Jae-hoon stepped closer. They kissed. Not soft, not gentle, desperate like people who know time is running out. When they pulled apart, Marisol's phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "Your son is home alone." Window unlocked. Marisol ran. Jae-hoon followed. They reached Marisol's apartment in 12 minutes. Caleb was fine. Door locked. Windows secured. But the message was clear. They know everything. That night, Jae-hoon went home to find the council waiting. The uncle held a folder. The Kim family withdrew their marriage offer. But Apex Security made a new one. A merger, not a marriage. What merger? They want Parallax's shipping routes. In exchange, they'll handle the Marisol Green problem. Jae-hoon's blood went cold. Handle? Relocate. Quietly. Permanently. The child too. You can see Marisol safe and disappear from Marisol's life, the aunt said. Or you can keep playing savior and watch Marisol burn. Jae-hoon understood then. The council wasn't destroying the relationship to maintain tradition. The council was using the relationship to force a corporate merger. Apex Security manufactured the threat against Marisol to create leverage. The federal inquiry, the surveillance, the pressure, all coordinated. Marisol was never the target. Caleb had been listening, not just to words, to silences, to the way Marisol's voice changed when Marisol thought Caleb wasn't paying attention. Caleb knew Marisol was afraid. Caleb knew the man from the wallet was why. Caleb knew adults lie to protect children, and that makes children more vulnerable. So when Caleb found the Apex Security card in the trash, Caleb didn't ask questions. Caleb called the number. Apex Security Solutions. Caleb kept Caleb's voice steady. My mom got your card. She wants to disappear. Pause. Who is this? The reason you're watching us. The voice on the other end shifted. Your mother's testimony is the only thing stopping us from moving on Parallax. Tell her we can help. Caleb pressed the record button on Marisol's old phone. Got every word. Then Caleb hung up and sent the audio file to the one person Caleb trusted. Jae-hoon. Meanwhile, Marisol sat in a federal office answering questions Marisol couldn't afford to answer truthfully. Agent Reeves spread documents across the table. Shell charity filings. Campaign finance violations. We need you to identify which signatures you authenticated and which you flagged as fraudulent. Marisol stared at the papers. Telling the truth would expose Parallax imports. Lying would make Marisol an accomplice. I need time, Marisol said. You have 24 hours. Across town, Jae-hoon met with Apex Security's CEO in a restaurant where every table was empty except theirs. The CEO smiled like a politician. We don't want Parallax. We want your cooperation. What cooperation? Sign over 3 shipping routes. We relocate Ms. Green and her son with full protection. You never see them again. They never see danger again. And if I refuse? Then we stop pretending the federal inquiry isn't coming for all of you. Jae-hoon's phone buzzed. Audio file from Caleb. Jae-hoon listened. Jae-hoon's expression didn't change, but inside, everything shifted. A 7-year-old just gave Jae-hoon leverage. Jae-hoon stood. The merger is off. You don't have a choice. I do now. Jae-hoon left. Jae-hoon called Caleb immediately. Why did you do this? Caleb's voice was small but certain. Because lost things belong with the people who lost them. You lost your dad because he tried to protect someone. I don't want my mom to lose you for the same reason. Jae-hoon closed Jae-hoon's eyes. Thank you, Caleb. Jae-hoon took the recording to the council. The child is cleverer than all of us, the uncle said. Or more foolish, the aunt replied. Apex will know where this came from. Let them know, Jae-hoon said. I'm done protecting myself by sacrificing everyone else. Jae-hoon called the Apex CEO. The merger is off. The routes are closed. And if you touch Marisol or Caleb, I'll release everything I know about your campaign finance network. You'll destroy your own family. I'm redefining what family means. Jae-hoon hung up. Then Jae-hoon went to Marisol's apartment. Marisol opened the door, eyes red, exhausted from federal questioning. I need you to trust me one more time, Jae-hoon said. Why? Because your son just taught me what my father died trying to prove. Mercy isn't weakness. Fear of it is. As they talked, Caleb watched from the window. A black SUV pulled up. Federal jackets. Not Jae-hoon's people. Not Apex's. Caleb realized too late. The inquiry wasn't fake. Someone weaponized Caleb's recording. The raid wasn't coming for Marisol. The raid was coming for everyone. 72 hours later, everything changed. Federal agents seized Parallax import records. The council faced investigation. Apex Security's CEO sat in custody for obstruction of justice. And Marisol sat in a safe house with Caleb, watching it all unfold on the news. Jae-hoon arrived, exhausted, still in the suit Jae-hoon wore 3 days ago. They're saying you cooperated with the investigation, Marisol said. I gave them everything my father documented before he died. Evidence of every corrupt deal, every laundered donation, every rigged contract. My father was building a case. I buried it. Until now. Caleb ran to Jae-hoon. Hugged Jae-hoon without asking permission. Did we win? Jae-hoon knelt to Caleb's level. We did something harder than winning. We told the truth. 6 months later, Marisol worked as a legal consultant for a nonprofit auditing corporate charities. Caleb's school received funding from a restructured Parallax Foundation, transparent now, clean now. Jae-hoon stepped down as CEO. Took a compliance director position instead. They didn't live together yet. But Jae-hoon came to dinner 3 times a week. One evening, Caleb looked up from homework. Do you think you'll get married? Marisol and Jae-hoon exchanged a glance. Would that be okay with you? Jae-hoon asked. Only if you promise to always tell the truth. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Late that night, Caleb asked Jae-hoon one more question. Why did you really leave that wallet? Jae-hoon sat on the edge of Caleb's bed. I wanted to see if anyone still believed lost things should go home. I didn't think anyone would call. I thought the world had forgotten how to return things. But I called. You did. And you reminded me what my father spent his whole life trying to prove. That honesty isn't weakness. That mercy isn't foolish. That some people are worth the risk of believing in. 1 year later, the low blocks of South Baltimore were being redeveloped. Tenants had ownership stakes. Families couldn't be displaced. A new community center opened, funded by Parallax, audited by Marisol's nonprofit. The plaque read, "In memory of Park Jae-sung, who believed mercy was the hardest kind of courage." Caleb walked past the bus bench where Caleb found the wallet. Someone left a phone there. Brand new, still in the box. A note. If you're honest enough to return this, you're the kind of person the world needs. Caleb picked up the phone. Took it to the nearest police station. As Caleb walked away, a young woman across the street watched. Notebook in hand, testing the world the way Jae-hoon once did. The woman smiled. The test never ended. It just found new people to believe in. Marisol's voice came through as narrator. They say one call can't change anything. They're wrong. One call can change a person. One person can change a family. One family can change a system. My son taught me that lost things belong with the people who lost them. The truth was never lost. It was just waiting for someone brave enough to return it. If this story reminded you of a truth you've been carrying, a choice you've been afraid to make, maybe it's time to act on it. The stories we pass along, the lessons we share, that's how change continues. That's how we prove mercy isn't weakness. If this moved you, let someone else hear it. Hit that subscribe button for more stories from Tales by Wave, stories that challenge what we think we know about love, power, and courage. And remember, the wallet was returned. But the test? The test never ends.